Hi there, this is Naomi here again, founder and creator of Wellower Therapeutic Coaching, with another episode of Your Freedom Steps, how to free yourself from any compulsive addictive cycle. And today we're going to be focusing on compulsive eating and something called legacy burdens. So what are legacy burdens and how do they connect with freedom from compulsive eating? Well, there are two types of burdens that I've witnessed in myself and with the clients that I work with that can somehow get stuck in the system, and they can create and cause and compound addictive compulsive behaviours. Now, one is to do with things that happened in our lives where they weren't good and we picked up feelings, emotions, beliefs about ourselves that were just plain wrong, and somehow we've been carrying them around. They've been upsetting us so much that they cause us to need to numb out, escape with behaviours that don't serve us, they don't serve our purpose, and they don't serve our happiness. And that's one type of burden. And another type of burden is something called legacy burdens. Now, legacy burdens don't have anything to do with things that happened, that traumatized us, that upset us in our lives. They have much more to do with things that happened in past lives. So it could be stuff that our parents experienced that they still carried with us, with them. It could be stuff our grandparents experienced, great-grandparents. Even people say it can go back as far as 7 generations. So stuff in our ancestral line, basically. Now, legacy burdens have to do with food in a very significant way, because if people in our ancestry didn't have enough food, or maybe feared that they wouldn't have enough food, then that fear gets passed down to us. If it hasn't been looked at, resolved, soothed, taken care of and worked through in past generations, then we're going to get the full load of that. And even sometimes I think sometimes it can actually increase as it gets passed down the generation. It kind of rolls over a bit like a snowball, increasing in size. And that's, not great news for us. If we've got a difficult, challenging relationship with food, then we might be kind of carrying our own stuff, but also stuff from past generations. Now, what the hell can we do about that? Because, it's not mine. I didn't ask for it. Why do I have to sort it out? What can I do about it? Well, don't worry, because there are some really simple, clear ways to help find the parts of us that have heroically taken on this role of bearing the burden of past food difficulties. We can find them and we can help them to release that burden. And frankly, that is actually a really great way of becoming more and more free with our relationship with food. And if I think about it, it's understandable. Personally, I am half German, half English. So my parents went through 2 wars, or my great-grandparents went through 2 huge wars that resulted in the so-called Great Wars, the First and Second World Wars. And those wars resulted in people not having enough food, both after the war, when it was completely economically devastated, the countries, plus during the wars, when there was the need to do some really, really pretty rigorous rationing. So no wonder people felt enormous fear, and no wonder it was too much for them to process, and no wonder it got passed down to us. And I see it a lot. I see it in myself, and I see it in people I work with, this fear that there's not going to be enough food, this desire to stock the cupboards, have more, and literally eat more, have more than our bodies need to fuel and nourish themselves. And some of that's our stuff that we can work through in also simple processes, and some of that stuff that we didn't even ask for or know about. Thankfully we live in an abundant time. If we need food, then we can, likely if you're watching this video, then we're in the position that we can just pop to Tesco's and fill a carrier bag, and there's no problem. So if you're in the position where you feel like, yeah, my food difficulties do feel like they're a mixture of my stuff, other people's stuff, past generation stuff, then don't worry, because there are simple processes. I'm going to be sharing more about legacy burdens in future videos. And if you have enjoyed this content, then please click on like on this video, also subscribe to my channel, and I'm going to be sharing more about this sort of content in the future. And if you have a question as well, then feel free to post that question, and I can reply either in a message, or I can even create a video replying to that question. I love to do that sometimes. So thanks so much for listening.